So it's funny because every time we talk about WhatsApp in customer service and in sales interactions, e- every single time the biggest concern is about data protection. And it's not just it's GDPR, of course, for the EU, but also the similar data protection regulations elsewhere in the world, like in the USA or Canada or UK or wherever. And I find it kind of funny, and I'm often sort of having this debate where I I end up coming across like I'm the biggest defender of Facebook slash WhatsApp, which I'm not. And by the way, so maybe I should state that for the record, that I don't use Facebook very much myself. I don't actually feel comfortable about sharing stuff on that platform. So I'm not a Facebook fanboy. So okay, got that disclaimer out of the way. But when it comes to WhatsApp, you have to really compare it with email and SMS to know what's going on. So like if you do SMS, two-way SMS or one-way SMS interactions, which are happening all the time, right? You're always getting SMSs from companies about one thing or another, or you phone up and you get the contact center agent sends you a link by SMS and you can sometimes respond to it. Those conversations are completely unencrypted, right? Because of the way SMS is set up. They're not encrypted when they're on the move, between two servers. They're not encrypted when they're on location, like when they're stored. And if you compare with email, as we all know, nobody puts confidential details, right, about your financial instruments that you use, your accounts and everything, or any other kind of account in an email and sent it to somebody, right? Almost everybody who knows anything about software at all, even consumers, would do that because you kind of have a feeling like email is not very secure. Yet the biggest channel for customer service is email, right? So agents every day are sitting there writing emails and you're sending emails back to them with all kinds of information in them. If we contrast that with WhatsApp, actually the WhatsApp solution for data protection is pretty good. So obviously WhatsApp servers are all over the world. So you cannot guarantee that when somebody sends you a WhatsApp message that it's only going to land on a server be processed on a server in, say, in the EU when we talk about GDPR. You can't guarantee that. But WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted, which means that the messages that are sent, so in contrast to SMS, for example, which means that the messages that are sent and processed on whatever WhatsApp server is used for the initial, receipt of the message, could be somewhere else in the world. But when they go through the business, what's called the business WhatsApp API, and they land with us, then we're also keeping them encrypted, right? So again, contrasting with SMS, like we as service providers don't even have access to those messages. We would not be able to break into the messages if we tried, right? So it's actually quite a secure end-to-end process. The other thing is that when they leave the WhatsApp servers wherever they are in the world and they are processed by us, then we actually guarantee contractually, as do other service providers in this industry, that they're only processed within the region that you want them to be processed in. So that means that you can actually have all of your WhatsApp post-processing after it leaves the Facebook WhatsApp universe. You can have it guaranteed to be processed only in Frankfurt in Germany, or only in a particular hosting facility in the UK, or wherever it is that you're operating in, and depending on the particular data protection regulations you're trying to fulfill. So that's what I find is the funny outcome of having this discussion is you end up realizing that if you're going to choose a channel, right, if you were starting from scratch and you hadn't set up any of your channels and you were going to choose one where you could actually achieve modern data protection compliance circumstances, then WhatsApp would actually be a really good option. It might, if you do pure pros and contras, it might come up top of the list actually, but people don't accept this. And I think the reason people don't accept this is because of what I said earlier about my own particular problems with Facebook. Is I guess there's a general sense of unease that that this is a Facebook organization, and the feeling is that I want to be careful about it, and so people tend to look at are all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted, and I think that's right. I think they should, and I certainly spend a lot of time, and I'm always open to have this discussion with people and go through the contractuals and how does it work and which company is responsible for what and where's the data stored. I think everybody should be asking those questions, and I think that's a positive thing about this concern that people have, is it makes people ask the right questions. And it's not a positive outcome maybe of the GDPR regulations as well, is that people are a lot more deliberate. Companies are a lot more deliberate about setting up the processes in the right way in the beginning now, and that certainly was not the case in the past. So so for me, I think overall this movement that we have towards better protection is a positive thing.